Hello everyone, welcome to Samiksha Academy. In this particular video, let's have a discussion about lateral entry scheme. As you all know, way back in 2018, the scheme started with a lot of fanfare, but eventually a couple of months back, it was put on hold, fundamentally because of two reasons. Reason one, opposition mentioned that this particular scheme lacks the quota system. Because of the absence of quota, it is violating the principle of equity. Internally, this individual named Sanjiv Chaturvedi, an IFS officer, he filed a complaint. Initially, he took up the case to the CAT, that is Central Administrative Tribunal. Later, the scheme ended up in the Supreme Court. Now, we have to wait for the Supreme Court to deliver its judgment with respect to the fate of this particular scheme, right? So, the main bone of contention here, the petitioner argued that, if you clearly observe here, his main point is, it is actually violating this constitutional principle. As per Article 309, there must be a procedure, statutory procedure that must be followed by either passing an act of parliament or with the consent of the president. Though DoPT argued that president used the authority under doctrine of pleasure, under which president may come up with this kind of scheme. But the petitioner argument is, you may come up with some special provisions to to recruit some persons, but this is not for bulk postings, right? So here for 63 positions, right, you people launched the scheme but without following proper rules. At the same time, by introducing these kind of schemes, especially at the secretary level, it may exposes government's confidentiality. It may leads to conflict of interest because of lack of proper verification. Likewise, lot many complaints were raised against it. In this context, let's have a look at what exactly the scheme is all about. Why is it really necessary? What kind of issues we are having with it, right? What should be the way forward? This particular information you can actually use in GS paper 2, right? Already in one of the previous years, one question was asked about it. In the coming future also, we may expect questions, right? So in that context, let's have a look at a quick grasp of what exactly the scheme is all about. In simple terms, what is lateral entry? Getting talent from outside, right? See here, talent from outside for a short period, that is for a period of 3 to 5 years, right? Unlike the traditional hiring system, there the recruitment happens through merit based exams. Here, because of their expertise in the private sector, we will be recruiting them. This is what, in simple terms, what exactly lateral entry is all about. Not a direct entry, but after a period of time, because of their expertise, we will be recruiting them in the governmental sector, that too for a short period of time. How different is it from the traditional bureaucracy? As you all know, once if any individual got selected, right, in the UPSC CSC finalist, then they will be going for this Labsara, right? Then after happening of the training, initially they will be attached to the district offices and the foreign offices. Finally, they will be posted as a sub-divisional magistrate. Then as municipal commissioner, as district development officer, as chief development officer, right, as district magistrate. Till this point, they will be directly in touch with the people. That's why they will be called as the line agents, right? Line agent means directly in touch with people. Then they will come to secretariat. So after getting enough ground experience, they will be coming to the secretariat. Eventually, if they go on deputation to the center, they will be finally ending up as either cabinet secretary, right, or principal secretary. If they are at the state level, eventually because of if they have a good amount of tenure, eventually they will end up as chief secretary. However, in the case of lateral entry, they will be directly coming as under secretary. So here you might be coming to know what kind of challenges we will be having here. These people will be doing the groundwork, right? The people connect. Here this will be missing. That's what we will be seeing here. Just have a look at that. But however, there is a strong history behind it. Way back in 1966, I think you know about the first Administrative Reforms Commission, right? This commission also recommended for this lateral entry. Similarly, ARC2 also recommended, right? Shashi Tharoor in the parliament as the head of the parliament standing committee suggested introduction of eminent personalities. We have already seen some examples. For example, take the case of Nandan Nilekani, right? We made him as the chairperson of the UIDAI, right? Right now we are using this other, right? UIDAI. So for this, for the purpose of other, right? However, but the thing right now is, this Niti Aayog, it actually planning for more number of private entries, right, as the especially starting with the secretary level, under secretary level positions. Eventually in the year 2018, government actually came up with a scheme under which initially they recruited 63 people. For that, it started facing the challenges. Initially, what's the justification given by the government here? There is a shortfall of officers. If you see here, as per the data given by the DoPT, right, only 442 IAS officers working at the center against the requirement of 1462. Understood? Almost like into 3 times we have the need, but only 442 officers are available. So that's why we need members from the private side. At the same time, it improves government's efficiency. Why? Because if you bring people from the private sector, it increases the competition. So because of that, it improves efficiency of the government. In the similar fashion, because these people will be coming from outside, they will be bringing some fresh perspectives, be it with respect to new technologies, be it with respect to new financial instruments. Right? In the similar fashion, if for example, it's a ministry for certain things like climate change, right, or to deal with activities like civil aviation, we need the cooperation, we need to cooperate with private sector. So if you bring in private sector talent here, understood, so it not only enhances government competition, but we all can work for a common goal. So that's the reason for which government actually thought of to come up with this lateral entry. However, see here the challenges. Point number 1, as I said, unlike the traditional system, these people does not have the grassroots level experience. They will be coming for 3 to 5 years, so there will be only short term focus. As these people coming from the private sector, right? So there can be a concept called as revolving door. Revolving door means what? First, suppose for example, from government, people will be going to the private company, from private side, people will be coming to the government. Here government, here is private. That means from government, people will be going to the private sector. So here, whatever things they land here, they are giving you for the private sector. From private sector, specific interest people will be coming to the government. That means it leads to private interest will dominate the public interest. It eventually leads to conflict of interest. If individual interest dominates public interest, it is eventually called as conflict of interest. This is what is called revolving door, right? They themselves will be adjusting. Private will be coming to the government for the advantage. From the government, people will be going to the private for their own advantage at the cost of the public. Similar fashion, it is, as I said, it is violating the reservation policy. This is one of the objections raised by the opposition. It violates the principle of social justice and equity. In the similar fashion, issues of accountability because of the short tenure, whatever decisions they have taken during their period, who will be responsible for that? So there will be issues of accountability, answerability, right? There can be chances of political interference. It may bring in, there is a concept called as spoil system. What is spoil system? Politicians will bring their close aides as the officials. It eventually leads to spoil system. That means they will be only favoring to their decisions. This is what happened way back before the coming up of this Wilson's public administration in US. There used to be this kind of spoil system. So it's not good for a country like India. So these are the challenges. So that's why what should be the way forward? Point number 1, rather than only thinking of private sector to come in here, let the bureaucrats be also get the experience of the private sector, right? For a time being, let them work in some private sector and come back. And second one is, let there be outcome based. That's what the Mission Karma Yogi says. What it says? Role based, not rule based. Don't work. It's not just rule. Think of your role, responsibility, right? time to time having this kind of study breaks so that it improves the performance. Especially here the interesting factor is two-tier system proposed by Subbarao, right? Dur Subbarao, former RBI governor, right? His major point here is that let there be two-level recruitment. Here I just mentioned, I will just explain that. Before that, just have a look at this one, Public Administration University, because if you have an initiative like this, it not only encourages upcoming people to come to get to know about what exactly public administration is all about, right? It also encourages the bureaucrats to utilize the services here. It creates a kind of knowledge pool, right? So that is one more suggestion. Let's come back to this two-tier system. I will explain here. See, so under this, his major point is that let there be two divisions. Division number 1, 25 to 30 years. Let there be one exam here. Let there be another exam at 37 to 42 years. So those people who will be coming at 25 to 30 years, they will be having the ground level experience. Those people who will be coming at 37 to 42 years age, by now these people will be already working somewhere at the private sector. For example, take institutions like this IS Binyan School of Business, right? There if you need to get recruited, first you should have some ground experience. So here this is also the same kind of thing. First let there be two separate exams. First exam will be focusing on between the age group of 25 to 30, another exam will be of 37 to 42 years. Right, so that there will be a merit, it counters spoil system, understood. It also benefits the service. So that's why in conclusion, you should not only just think about the merit, you should also think about the goals of equity and social justice. Right, so I feel this is how we need these kind of systems, we need to do this kind of experiments, because at the end of the day, we need to think of outcome based system, not just rule based, as we can see in the Mission Karmayogi. We need role based, we need responsible officers. So for that we can have these kind of experiments, but at the end of that we should not forget about our constitutional values like social justice and integrity. Understood? Thank you.